The morning the doctors finally ran out of answers, the city hospital looked exactly the same as it always did. Polished glass doors, the faint scent of antiseptic drifting into the parking lot, nurses moving like quiet storms in blue scrubs. But inside room 417, everything felt different. Vanessa Cole, founder and CEO of one of the largest tech companies in the state, sat upright in a hospital bed she did not belong in. The white sheets felt like an insult against her tailored charcoal suit jacket draped over the chair. She had built an empire from nothing. She negotiated billion-dollar contracts without blinking. And yet, for 3 weeks, she couldn't conquer the invisible thing unraveling inside her. 31 specialists, cardiologists, neurologists, gastroenterologists, autoimmune experts flown in from other cities. Each one ran tests. Each one frowned at charts. Each one said the same thing. Your results are inconclusive. But the symptoms were not. The crushing chest tightness that wasn't quite a heart attack. The dizziness that made board meetings feel like carnival rides. The sudden exhaustion that stole her breath mid-sentence. Her assistant had started finishing her presentations. Outside her room, the 30-second consultation was ending. Dr. Harris, head of internal medicine, cleared his throat. Ms. Cole, medically speaking, we've ruled out the major life-threatening causes. Structurally, your heart is strong. Neurologically, scans are clear. She stared at him. So I'm imagining it. No, he said quickly. Your pain is real. We just don't have a clear diagnosis yet. Vanessa's jaw tightened. She hated words like yet. She stood up despite the dull throb under her ribs. Discharge me. Ms. Cole, we'd prefer to observe. I've already lost 3 weeks. Silence. She signed the forms. At that exact moment, in the outpatient pediatric wing downstairs, Marcus Reed was crouched beside 3 identical backpacks decorated with cartoon astronauts. Shoes tied? He asked. Double knotted, said Lily. Snack packed? He asked. Carrots and crackers, said Emma. Courage ready, he whispered. Their brother Noah, the quietest of the triplets, raised a small fist. Ready. Marcus smiled. He wasn't a CEO. He didn't own a company. He drove a 10-year-old sedan that rattled when it idled too long. But he owned something Vanessa Cole didn't have at that moment: noise. Warm, chaotic, beautiful noise. The triplets had a routine checkup. Nothing serious. Just yearly physicals and a follow-up on Noah's mild asthma. Marcus adjusted his worn denim jacket and stood. All right, team. Operation Brave checkup. They marched down the hallway dramatically, saluting nurses. When the elevator doors opened on the ground floor, they spilled out laughing, and nearly collided with a woman in sunglasses walking stiffly toward the exit. Vanessa stopped short, gripping her purse. For a split second, irritation flickered in her eyes. Marcus immediately stepped back. I'm so sorry. But then Lily tugged at his sleeve. Daddy, she whispered, not quietly enough, why does she look like she's holding her breath? Vanessa froze. Emma tilted her head. Is she sad? Noah, studying her carefully, said softly, she looks like when I can't breathe before my inhaler. The hospital lobby hummed around them, but something in the air shifted. Marcus felt heat creep up his neck. Guys, that's not polite. It's okay, Vanessa said suddenly. Her voice surprised even her. She removed her sunglasses. Up close, the dark circles under her eyes were impossible to hide. The triplets stared, not rudely, just curiously. Children didn't know how to pretend they weren't seeing pain. Vanessa cleared her throat. I'm fine. Noah frowned gently. That's what I say. When I'm not. Marcus crouched to their level. Okay, that's enough detective work. But Lily stepped forward. What hurts? She asked. Vanessa blinked. 31 doctors had asked her about pain. On a scale of 1 to 10. Sharp or dull, localized or radiating. But no one had simply asked, what hurts? She hesitated. My chest. Sometimes my head. It's complicated. Emma crossed her arms thoughtfully. Complicated like math, or complicated like feelings? The question landed strangely. Vanessa felt something in her ribcage tighten, not physically, but emotionally. Marcus started apologizing again. I promise we don't normally interrogate strangers. But Vanessa surprised herself. She crouched down. Maybe, feelings, she admitted. Noah stepped closer, studying her face the way only a child can, without agenda. When does it hurt the most? He asked quietly. And there it was. The question that 31 specialists never asked. Not when it spikes. Not what triggers it chemically. But when it hurts the most. Vanessa opened her mouth to answer clinically. Then stopped. Images flashed. Boardrooms. Empty penthouse evenings. Her phone lighting up with missed calls she never returned, from her younger sister. The night her mother passed away while Vanessa was in Tokyo closing a deal. The pain had started a month after the funeral. It hurts most, she said slowly, when I'm alone. The lobby noise seemed to fade. Marcus didn't interrupt. Emma tilted her head. Alone like, nobody there. Or alone like nobody listening. Vanessa swallowed. The doctors had run scans on her heart. But no one had scanned that sentence. Alone like nobody listening, she whispered. Noah nodded like that made perfect sense. That's heavy, Lily said seriously. Vanessa almost laughed. Heavy. Yeah, Lily said. When I keep secrets, my tummy hurts. Marcus exhaled softly. He knew where this was going. He had learned this lesson the hard way after his wife died 3 years ago. How grief doesn't disappear, it burrows. Noah reached into his backpack and pulled out a small folded drawing. It was messy and colorful. 3 stick figures holding hands with a taller fourth one. That's Daddy when he forgets to be sad, Noah explained. Vanessa stared at the drawing. Marcus felt his throat tighten. He means, Marcus said gently, we talk about things. Even ugly things. Especially ugly things. Vanessa looked at him fully for the first time. He looked tired, the kind of tired that comes from late-night fevers and early morning school lunches. But his eyes were steady. You think talking would fix this? She asked. Marcus shrugged. I think not talking might be part of it. Before Vanessa could respond, Drive. Harris stepped into the lobby, spotting her. Ms. Cole, we were hoping to discuss one more thing. She stood up slowly. The triplets watched. Doctor. Harris glanced at Marcus and the children curiously. Vanessa hesitated. Then she did something entirely out of character. Doctor, she said carefully, can I ask you something? Of course. In all the tests you ran, did anyone ask me when the pain feels worst emotionally? Doctor. Harris blinked. We asked about stress levels. No, she interrupted. I mean specifically, when I feel most alone. When I'm not speaking. Silence stretched. Marcus watched realization flicker across the doctor's face. Psychosomatic. Stress-induced chest constriction. Grief-triggered panic response. They had circled around it clinically, but never centered it humanly. Doctor. Harris adjusted his glasses. We focused on physiological causes. Vanessa nodded slowly. I built a company by ignoring feelings, she said quietly. My mother used to say I treated emotions like bugs in software, isolate and delete. The triplets giggled at the phrase. But maybe, she continued, I never deleted them. I just minimized the window. Something in her chest loosened slightly as she said it out loud. Doctor. Harris cleared his throat. There is a condition known as stress-induced cardiomyopathy. And severe grief responses can mimic cardiac symptoms. Marcus didn't need the medical terminology to understand. The triplets exchanged knowing looks like they had just solved a mystery. Emma smiled at Vanessa. So your heart isn't broken. It's just loud. Vanessa felt tears sting unexpectedly. No boardroom had ever made her feel this exposed. Maybe, she whispered. Doctor. Harris nodded thoughtfully. We can arrange a comprehensive evaluation with behavioral medicine. I believe we may have been approaching this too narrowly. Vanessa laughed softly, the first real laugh in weeks. All because of one question, she said, glancing at Noah. When does it hurt the most? He repeated proudly. Marcus squeezed his shoulder. The tension in Vanessa's chest didn't vanish magically. But it shifted, from mystery to meaning. She looked at Marcus. Coffee. He blinked. Excuse me. There's a cafe across the street, she said. I owe your team of consultants a thank you. The triplets cheered. Marcus hesitated. He still had work, a delivery shift starting in an hour. Vanessa seemed to read his mind. I won't keep you long, she said. Just 5 minutes. He studied her. She no longer looked like a CEO leaving defeated. She looked like someone who had finally been asked the right question. 5 minutes, he agreed. At a small table by the window, Vanessa listened as the triplets argued about which muffin flavor was superior. She found herself smiling at the chaos. Your wife? She asked Marcus gently. He didn't flinch. Cancer, he said simply. 3 years ago. I'm sorry. Me too, he replied. But we talk about her. A lot. Vanessa nodded. I didn't talk about my mother, she admitted. Not once. I scheduled meetings the day after her funeral. Marcus didn't judge. That kind of strength looks impressive, he said. Until it starts cracking. She stared at her untouched coffee. When does it hurt the most? She repeated softly to herself. The answer wasn't mysterious anymore. It was every night. Every empty penthouse dinner. Every voicemail from her sister she hadn't returned. The pain had been knocking. She just hadn't listened. Lily suddenly reached across the table and placed the messy drawing in Vanessa's hand. For when you forget, she said. Vanessa folded it carefully and placed it in her purse like it was a contract worth millions. Thank you, she said, voice thick. Dr. Harris had already called to schedule a follow-up, this time including trauma counseling and stress evaluation. 31 doctors hadn't failed. They just hadn't asked the right question. 3 children had. As Marcus gathered his crew to leave, Vanessa stood too. Mr. Reed. Marcus is fine. Marcus, she corrected. If you ever need anything at all, call my office. He smiled. We're okay. I know, she said. That's what makes you dangerous. He laughed. Outside, the sun felt warmer than it had that morning. Vanessa stood on the sidewalk watching the triplets pile into their old sedan, arguing about seatbelts. Her chest felt different, still tender, but breathable. She pulled out her phone. Scrolled to a contact she hadn't touched in months. Her sister. Her thumb hovered. Then she pressed call. As it rang, she whispered to herself. When does it hurt the most? And for the first time, she didn't feel afraid of the answer.